But obviously, we're going to get started by going back to this past Friday night. Here we go. This is our play of the week. So talk to us about what we're seeing here. Walk us through it. The Rattlers punt to the Hornets down 16-13.
Welcome into Rattler Up with Coach Walsh live from San Marcos High School and the Rattler Broadcast Studios and exclusively on the home for Rattler Nation events, the RattlerUp Network. This is the place you got to be every week to track all the events of Rattler Nation, the RattlerUp Network on YouTube at RattlerUp Network. I'm your host, CJ Odom, and with me as always, San Marcos CISD Athletic Director and Head Football Coach, John Walsh. Coach, welcome back into Rattler Up.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good extended weekend. I'm sure you did nothing on Monday. It was a day off. Couldn't do anything, right?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week.
I bet. We will talk about that. Well, this week on Rattler Up, we will be talking about the game against East Central this past Friday night. We'll preview this Friday night's game against the Judson Rockets. And live in studio, we'll be joined by members of the SMHS tennis team and their head coach, Michael Martinez. So, Coach, you're much of a tennis player?
You know, I actually did play tennis in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They had tennis in that town?
Merkel had tennis.
And how well did you play? How good were you?
I'd say average.
Average player.
Enjoyed the game, though.
Could you take Coach Martinez right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
We'll make sure that we set that up somewhere on the road.
I can get it back over the net.
There you go. More than I could probably do at this point, Coach. Well, before we get started, we want to recognize our cross-country team. They competed at district this past weekend, and Moses Garcia qualified for regionals. Got that regionals meets coming up, and you got to watch it pretty much right there in your backyard, right?
Yeah, it really was in my backyard. So I went back, ran about 9 o'clock, picked up the dog, went for a walk, and got to sit on the bench and watch him run at 5 Mile, and Moses was incredible. I think he went in, the top 10 make it to regionals. I think he was sitting right at top 10 with a bunch of other guys from other schools crowded around it. So he had to compete to qualify, and he didn't just barely get in. He was in the middle of the pack of that top 10 the whole race, competed hard. And I think he finished 7th. It was fun to watch him. That's
awesome. Well, Moses, October 21st, next Tuesday, Corpus Christi, the regional cross-country meet. So good luck to you, and we'll be definitely bringing you the update on Rattler Up Network. So now let's look back at this past Friday night and check in on the Rattlers versus the Hornets from this past Friday. Now, the first half of this one looked almost exactly how you'd want it for the Rattlers coach, where after a defensive battle for both teams in the first quarter, the second quarter would open up with a 10-yard rushing touchdown from quarterback Buck Stein to put the Rattlers up 7-0. Now, later in the quarter, running back Justin Tardy would get into the end zone from 7 yards out, and at the very end of the half, Stein would connect with Hank Harris on a 74-yard touchdown pass, and the Rattlers would take a 21-0 lead into the halftime locker room. They would extend it to 24-0 before East Central was finally able to get on the board. When in the third quarter, they hit a 75-yard touchdown pass, and they would follow that up just over 2 minutes later with a 65-yard strike to cut the lead to 24-14. Now, with just over 6 minutes remaining in the game after a Rattler punt, an issue began developing on the East Central sideline that referees and coaches had to help separate. As a result, more than a dozen players from each side were ejected, including several key starters for the Rattlers. The Hornets were able to score on a 72-yard touchdown pass to get within 3 of the Rattlers. Now, the Rattlers looked to have made the stop they needed with a minute remaining in the game, but a pass interference call on a pass that landed in the visitors' parking lot was called, giving East Central first and goal from the 2, which they were able to convert and take the lead, which they would hold on to as a final score of 28-24. So, Coach, we'll get into the game itself. Obviously, a lot to talk about, X's and O's wise,
right.
But what can you share with us about the incident that led to the ejections and kind of the outcome of that since Friday night?
Yeah, and so there's a fine line between taking care of your brother and taking care of your teammate and it creating something that could possibly put you on CNN. And so, you know, we had their player and our player got tangled up. And then when our players looked over, there were 3 guys over our one player. Nothing, I don't think anything too malicious was happening, but it looked like, hey, my teammate's in the bind. So one of our players went over, knocked them all over, and then both sidelines converged. Right. Not complete sidelines, but both teams converged, some off the sidelines. And the East Central, it was on their sideline, so the East Central coaches got out there pretty quick and were able to separate. And then by the time we got out there, it was a whole bunch of jawing, a whole bunch of just pushing and shoving. I wouldn't call it a fight. If it was a fight, there'd be some pretty good penalties coming down on us. But there were ejections, and
well, that was the crazy part. Is in the stands, we're waiting to hear the call, and we're even talking about how could they possibly sort this out. And then the referee comes on the mic, and he had a list of numbers for East Central, and a list of numbers for San Marcos as well.
Yeah, and it's hard. I get it. It's chaotic down there because when you're down there, especially as the two head coaches in charge of what's taking place right now, is this could get real ugly if the wrong kids start doing the wrong things, and that just multiplies. So we were lucky it didn't get to that point.
Right.
But there were still going to be penalties. So when they called them out, and after we dove into the film on Saturday, before we talked to UIL, Coach Hubbard and I from East Central worked together. Suzette, the AD, we worked together all weekend. Got all the information, and the UIL did a good job of the kids that their numbers were called to be suspended. If they didn't leave the field, they got reinstated, and they ended up having 3 reinstated. And our running back Donovan
So those
Garcia.
are players whose numbers were called for ejections, but it was an error,
correct?
And they were not going to get a suspension to follow.
Yep, and again, luckily we had video from this network. I mean, our videos, we have 3 angles. East Central has 3 angles, but those plays start when the play starts and end when the play ends.
Right.
So they didn't catch any of the post-game activities. Josh was able to reach out, I think Friday night. He told me pretty quick that they caught it on angles. So
RattlerUp network footage that could show the UIL what had happened after the play.
And if it wasn't for that footage, everybody that got called out would have just been suspended for a half anyway.
Okay.
They'd have to trust what the officials said.
Right. So then you talk about that. So UIL this weekend meets. You just get the word almost a little bit before we go on air, right?
Yeah.
So now you kind of know what's the situation then for suspensions to follow.
Right. We will have 7 starters out for the first half. We have 1 that did throw a punch on air, and but if you throw a punch, you throw a punch, and so he'll be suspended for the whole game. But it could have been worse because when you really look at the video, there's some gray area of are you on the field or you're not on the field. And I'm just going to
especially it's stretched all the way over to their side, so it's already happening on their sideline.
Right. And I'm just going to assume UIL just said whoever wasn't in the altercation or whoever charged the scrum, if you say. It's embarrassing that it happened. I'm glad both players from each team didn't make it a real ugly scene where, like I said, it makes news. And you try to tell your kids all the time, man, the second guy that pushes is always going to get caught, right? And you can say it over and over and over again. And in games, you pull kids off, you're going to get a penalty. But I think we've been able to use it Friday night. Dr. Cardona came in the locker room with us, and I think the kids thought I was going to go in there and throw chairs around and be mad, but I was really just a calming voice of, I got to teach here. There's no use in yelling anymore.
Opportunity.
We did it Saturday morning. We did it Monday. And so hopefully when our players get in certain situations, it's football. They're going to be in a physical situation that they think they may need to retaliate, and I'm hoping they learn their lesson. And because if they blow up again, UIL is going to come down hard on them and need to. Well,
and I think, too, there's a piece to that when you talk like just history, right? For those of us that have been here a while, right? There are schools and there are programs that are just not happy to see San Marcos succeed, and something and they're seeing an opportunity to maybe take some digs and take some shots, and it's an incredible lesson to teach those guys. Hey, guys are coming for you. Your talent pits a target on your back, and you just can't succumb to it, right? Is that a lot? I'm sure that's a lot of the conversation you had.
Exactly, and people know we're a good football team now. People know we can make some noise in the playoffs. Let's don't give them a stick to beat us with, and let's just win with class and learn your lessons. And this is a big lesson to learn. And there's, we're lucky that the UIL didn't throw full games on people.
Right. Well, it sounds like it went the way it could go. And so then we look at the football game itself, a lot of great football being played otherwise. Now, the stat lines overall favor the Rattlers in this one, but as we know, that doesn't matter in the end sometimes, right? 496 yards of total offense, doubled the time of possession. Stein was 16 for 32 for 247 yards. Harris rushed for 137. Tardy rushes for 109. But again, with those stat lines, then on defense, he held East Central just 52 yards in that first half, but those two big passing plays kind of sneaked through in the third. So how do you talk to the players about, every stat, but that final score comes out in our favor, you know?
And you've heard me say this, that football is beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It can work, but it can be beautiful for the other team too,
Right.
and not so great for you. The lesson learned in this is we were dominating on both sides of the ball. You get the ball at the half, and it's 21-0, and we just march it down. You have to score touchdowns and don't set up a field goal. We do it twice because it should be 30, 28, 35. It should be 35 rip in the third quarter.
Running away. And
no matter what happens late in the game, it's out of reach. But that didn't happen. That's why I don't like stats, but I use the stat because you take Buck's big long run and call back, you're nearly 600 yards of offense.
Right.
That should be 40 to 50 points. We're moving the ball. We're killing more time, but it doesn't matter if you don't score touchdowns. I'm not field goals don't win.
Finishing drives.
Field goals don't win in big games. You gotta go score touchdowns. So, and then giving up that deep ball. Once you give up a couple of them, you got to be cautious of it. And I was telling you earlier, this district is full of explosive players.
Right.
You can be up on people, but they got speed. And like this week against Judson, we'll talk in a minute. They got guys that can just go the house if you don't corral them.
Well, and we've seen that in multiple games this year, right? Where things were looking great for us.
Right.
And it was just a quick turn of events, one or two quick plays. Again, a team that maybe we match up well with them roster to roster.
Right.
But like I said, if they've got that playmaker, they're never out of the game.
And just reflecting as a head coach is I immediately thought, what am I doing wrong? And we're going to change our halftime habits a little bit. And maybe that helps us.
All right. Well, let's take a look at some highlight clips. We definitely have some clips we want to take a look at from this game. So we'll get those pulled up and take a look and see some of the good plays we had on both sides of the ball here.
Yeah, defense. I think we're one of the best rush defenses in the state. And I haven't looked statistically, but nobody runs the ball on us. And you look up, and we're usually 50 yards a game we're giving up.
Right.
And Class 6A, that's
we've had a negative yardage team against. Yeah,
pretty dang good.
They were continually not able to establish the run throughout the game.
And when you heard Coach Allen, I told him stop the run, and he's doing it. Of course, Tardy, he don't need much. He don't need much of a hole, and he's going to get big yardage. Our old line's playing really good. Early on I was hard on them. Man, they're coming off the ball right now, and they're getting it. And I knew they had the potential to be really, really good, and they're answering that call. Again, that's Cam right there.
This is where my sister's asking me, are they allowed to grab the jersey like that? And I explained that particular rule to the game to her.
She's got to be a tough crowd to watch a game with.
So that slant route again.
Hank had a big night. He had almost 140 yards receiving. Again,
I love that stop move there.
Yeah, Tardy's not one. The first guy is not getting Justin.
Right.
Not going to happen.
All right. So some great highlights there. So, Coach, we know obviously things to work on. You talked about a little bit of them. We've talked penalties in other games. 10 penalties for 100 yards in this game specifically. What are some things that you're looking at that Saturday morning game film you're looking and talking to the kids about?
And we're always addressing those penalties, and sometimes they're just frustrating because you don't. You don't get fined in high school for talking about officials, so I'm gonna go in and talk about officials. We had a ball.
I took my shot in the preview there.
That ball lands in their stands, and that's uncatchable. It should have been a pass interference call, and the house call on Buck's touchdown, that 80-something yard touchdown that sealed the deal. There's zero holding on it. So I didn't think we did a bad job, other than however many penalties we got in the scrum. Other than that, I thought our penalties were were hustle penalties.
Right.
And I can live with those.
Right. All right, well, this moves the Rattlers to 2-1 in district play as they get ready to head to Judson next Friday night, which we will cover later on the show. We're going to head to break for now, and when we return, we'll be joined by members of the SMHS tennis team and their head coach, Michael Martinez. So keep it here on Rattler Up. Welcome back to Rattler Up, exclusively on the home for Rattler Nation, Rattler Up Network. And Coach, we're excited. Rattler Up Network this Friday, adding something new. We're going to be broadcasting live from senior night at volleyball. So we'll be in the Snake Pit, a chance for folks to watch the volleyball game live, so they can watch that live. Or if they're down at San Marcos, down in Judson watching a football game, they can catch volleyball game in the archives. So just another chance to bring some live Rattler Nation action to Rattler Up Network. Kind of the idea behind a lot of this, right, Coach?
Yeah. So I know you've done baseball.
Yeah.
That's your thing, and you've watched a lot of football. I'm a volleyball dad. I'm not sure I know how to call a volleyball game, so I might have to tune in later.
Yeah. You're gonna be enjoying. I'm sure there'll be a highlight reel of bloopers to be had. I might need to have Maggie come and coach me up this week, or somebody help me out. But I'm studying, Coach. I'm doing everything I can so we can get ready. But the kids have been putting graphics together. They've been putting the camera angles together, figuring out the best way to present the product. So we're just excited. You know, those baseball games people were talking about. It's grandma in Minnesota that had never gotten to watch him play, so hopefully we'll be able to provide that for volleyball and plenty of other sports moving along as the year progresses with the Rattler Up Network. Well, joining us now in studio are members of the San Marcos High School tennis team and their coach, Michael Martinez. Coach, welcome into Rattler Up.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, well, Coach, we're going to try to get the Rattler Up Nation out to a tennis tournament as well. There's some logistics to work out, right? Lots of games going on at once, but
you can come at any time. It goes from 8 to all the way probably about 8 o'clock sometimes at night. So stop in, catch a match.
All right, well, we're going to get some live tennis on the Rattler Up Network as soon as we can as well. Well, Coach, we'll talk about the team in just a minute, but obviously we always want our viewers to get to know our coaches. And the heart and soul of what goes on here in Rattler Nation. So tell us a little bit about your history and how you got to be a coach and how you came to be here in San Marcos in the first place.
Like most tennis players, I just started in 8th grade, and I got lucky. Somebody invited me out, and stuck with the sport and played, for the first 2 years. And then I actually had a really good coach come in my junior year. And that coach, told me to go out and play some tournaments. And then from there, I just got bit by the tennis bug. I was playing every week. And I ended up, trying out to go to play in college. And didn't make it my first year, didn't land a spot. And then I ended up making friends with those people, tried out the second year, came in, and I got a walk-on spot and ended up playing 3 years at St. Mary's University.
Awesome.
And then from there, graduated, went and back to my old high school and taught for 6 years. And
where was that?
At Southwest High School.
Okay.
And coached there for 6 years as well, 3 years as an assistant, 3 years as a head. My last year there, we won district. And then this position opened up, which was one of the reasons why I came to San Marcos. Where we work with the middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and then I get to come up to the high school and coach the high school team.
Right, and I've seen that it's such a huge opportunity to be able to just build your program and be the one doing it, right, at that middle school. So now, how long have you been in San Marcos now? What year is this for you?
This is my 10th year.
10th year at San Marcos, so that's awesome. Well, Coach, one thing that I think a lot of people that aren't in tennis don't realize is just how long the season is. And you talk about usually there's fall sports, there's winter sports. Well, tennis is just all year round, just about, right?
All year round. We start in July, and we're gonna go all the way till November. We get a little break in December, and we start back up in January. Go all the way to April, and then on top of that, coaching the middle school, I'm going all the way till May 5th or 10th or around that time. So we're at it all year round.
Now, another thing I think people might wonder is for you as a coach, how you put together your lineups, because again, for football coach, for a basketball coach, you play your sport, right? But yours is very much like a track event in that you may be the coach, but you've got singles, you've got doubles, you've got boys, you've got girls. And so just talk to us about how you keep track of who you've got and who goes where in what position and that kind of thing.
Well, so for the singles, that's pretty easy. I have the kids, they play for their spot. And so we rank those kids 1 through 6, boys and girls, and that's our 6 singles points. There's 19 total matches between schools this fall. And for the doubles, based on those characteristics, I match up those doubles teams against what I feel the other school to best help us out to win the match.
So a lot of that strategy is happening just long before we ever get to the court, right?
Correct.
That's incredible. So what are you most excited about for your team this year?
Well, this year, we graduated a lot last year, and this year we had a bunch of players step up. We have with us in a bit our senior class that have been here for a total of 6 years, coached them since they were in middle school. And so part of what I'm really excited is seeing how, you said we had singles and doubles, seeing where those players are going to fall for this upcoming spring season to possibly get us out for the district.
Right. Okay. Well, let's meet that team that you just mentioned. So we are joined by 3 senior members of the San Marcos High School tennis team. So why don't you each we'll start here, introduce yourself, tell us what grade you're in, and also tell us about other things that you may be involved in at San Marcos High School.
Yeah, hi. My name is Constantine Reyes, and I'm a senior. I guess I've been doing tennis all 4 years of high school and 2 years in middle school, but I was in the Hayes district for middle school, so unfortunately I didn't have Coach Martinez.
And what other things you do at high school besides tennis?
I'm also in choir, both mixed and the varsity tenor bass, and I'm in a bunch of clubs. I'm president of the science club, and I'm trying to get in a director role for Pathways, or I am a director for Pathways, sorry.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, next up.
My name is Chloe, and I'm also a senior. I'm involved in orchestra. I'm actually in the chamber orchestra, and
With what instrument?
I play the violin.
Awesome.
I am the president of orchestra actually, and I'm also involved in some art too.
Okay,
I'm
awesome.
playing tennis for about 6 years
Very
too.
cool. Very cool.
My name is Kant. I also started in 7th grade, so I've also been playing for 6 years. So I've also known Coach Martinez for 6 years now. Similar to Chloe, I'm also in chamber orchestra, and I play the violin. So very similar in that aspect. But other than that, I'm in many clubs and programs like EMT, HOSA, just stuff like that.
Okay, well, awesome.
Pathways, yeah.
Well, Constantine, we'll start with you. When you talked about when you first started playing tennis, what is it just about tennis that's made you want to keep playing it?
For me, I feel like it's the only sport, or it's the best sport for me, because not only is there so much self-improvement that goes on with it, but I feel, I guess, kind of free that the length of a game depends on you and your match, and it's not all one game. It's not all one match. You have multiple matches throughout the day, and it feels a bit unrestricted, I guess, because it's not just one single event.
I mean, you certainly have to have that self-drive, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you are your team in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah. So I guess in that way, it can feel a little lonely, but I mean,
Fair.
Now that you put it that way, CJ.
So, Chloe, for you, what's been your favorite part about this specific team this year as you're in your senior year?
I mean, I love the people that I've met like through this program, and also I feel like if I lose, I'm not letting my team down like that much, but also it's not like if I mess up, I'm not like hurting the team in a giant way. Like if I like break my ankle or something and there's no replacement in like a more of a team sport like soccer or something. I don't know.
You got a lot of players that come up and can step up.
Yeah.
Like Coach was talking about, a lot of people stepping up with seniors graduating last year, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kant, for you, what is the hardest thing about playing tennis that maybe a lot of people don't realize or don't think about?
I think, like Constantine mentioned, being very independent, the sport is very independent. Even in the fall season, when it's a team season, you're still playing for yourself to get the point for the team. So in that aspect, it can be hard because you have to rely on yourself most of the time. But other than that, I feel like tennis looks easy, but has the learning curve is very high. Like, I feel like you need to. There's a big difference between a beginner tennis player and an advanced tennis player.
Right.
Yeah.
When do you feel like you kind of turned that curve and got to where you were getting to be, you would consider yourself a pretty good tennis player? You said you started in 7th grade. When do you think you started to feel like, I think I'm pretty good at this?
I would say at the beginning of my junior year and at the end of my sophomore year, because I started getting more serious about the game. I started practicing more throughout the summer, and I just started enjoying the sport more. And when you become a better player, it's actually more enjoyable to play the sport.
Okay. So, Chloe, what is your we talked about there's a lot of different ways to do it, right? Singles, doubles, mixed, all this. What is your favorite specific way, game or type of playing tennis?
I mean, I really like playing doubles because like they're there to like support, like not support me, but also they're like, you got this, and I'm not stuck in my head. I'm like, I gotta get this in. Like if I get this out, I'm like gone. So like yeah, and you get to take a break from like serving instead of being like you serve, then I serve, then you serve. So it's like you serve, then I serve, then she serves, and then
Right.
I mean it's fun. It gives you breaks, but also not really.
Right.
You have a support person in the spring.
Well, Constantine, talk to us about, do you have a favorite memory, like sometime that you were just extra proud of yourself? It maybe a match you really didn't think you were going to win, or making a team earlier than you thought you would, or something like that?
That's interesting. I'm stuck between two different memories.
Tell us both.
There was one tournament. It was just some UTR tournament. I don't remember when it was, but I think I was either a freshman or sophomore at the high school, and I went into super tiebreak, and which is to 10 points, win by 2, and I was playing someone a lot like myself. So the points were going very long because we were both trying to keep the ball in. And point after point, we kept winning one after the other. And so we went past 10.
Goodness. You said you had to win by 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then it went to 11, and then it went to like 12, and I ended up like losing like 12-14 or something.
Oh, wow. But to just know that you could go that far with somebody, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for all three of you, I'll start with you, Con. We'll work our way down the list here. What is your personal and team goals for the team this year?
For me personally, I just want to have fun most of all because it's my senior year. Like, I want to play good. I want to become a better player, but I also want to enjoy the sport that I play and not take it too seriously. But for the team overall, I want us to become closer as a team. I love the people in my team. I think team bonding is a very important thing. So I would like that for my team.
Awesome. And Chloe, what about you?
I mean, I agree with like, I mean, it's my senior year. I want to like have fun. I want to take it seriously, but I don't want to take it too seriously to the point where I'm like, I just can't do it anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for the team, I mean, getting closer, but also being able to win more points so that we can make it to district more in the future, you know?
Okay. And Constantine, your goals?
My goal, I really want to feel like I've improved from last year, and I just want to get that feeling that, oh, I'm a pretty good tennis player. Like, regardless of like the objectivity of however many games I win or how many matches or points, I want to feel like, oh, I feel like I'm good at this.
Right. Okay. Well, Coach, how about you? You got these seniors coming up. You said this has been a cool year for you. People stepping up, right, in the absence of some graduates. So what are your primary goals for the team this year?
Well, get us out of district. We've been shut out for the last 2 years, and so I got to figure out the right combinations in doubles or singles to get us out. That would be a great thing for the program and a personal highlight for me this year.
And when is district for you?
So our spring district is going to be in April.
Okay. So we're good. You're in your fall season, and then you'll come back in your spring season. April then is the official district guy. So
Yes,
we
sir.
talk a lot about getting ready for district. They get ready all year long for district.
I see it every day. Tennis court's full.
All right, well, guys, thank you guys for joining us here on Rattler Up. We're going to give you a chance, obviously, we always to let you have some time to do some shout outs. So if you got a live mic and a camera, who you want to thank back home or that might be watching here on the Rattler Up Network?
My mom and dad. And also
Isabel-
my little brother.
Isabella Elise Carrasco.
I also want to shout out the same person that Chloe shouted out, Isabella Carrasco. She's my girlfriend and my co-captain.
Well played. Good job, sir. All right, well, guys, thanks for joining us on Rattler Up. We're excited to see you do well this fall and tear it up all the way into the spring, going into district. And, Coach, thanks for joining us and bringing the team.
Thank you.
All right, well, we will head to commercial break, but when we return, we were going to look ahead to this Friday night as the Rockets are the opponent as we head down to Judson. And coming up next, Creek Ennis returns with Rapid Fire. All that and more. Keep it here on the Rattler Up Network. it's a tough place to be to watch that tennis team know all the work they're doing, right?
Yeah, and I would say the one reason we probably didn't have him on is because he's always on a court.
It's hard to get him on.
You're
It's
not
like,
gonna get to catch him free, and he does. He works tirelessly from Miller to Goodnight to our high school. The courts are always full. And what I enjoyed about listening to our tennis team talk was, you sometimes get kids in here. I want to win. I want to be. They get the goals, but each one of them talked about what tennis does for them personally.
Right.
And that's
It just
cool.
improves
It's
them.
really cool
Yeah.
to hear, and it's a tribute to Mike and how he runs his program.
Right. Well, I think I've done everything I can to put it off, but it's time for Rapid Fire with Creek Ennis. So for the last 2 weeks, Creek has brought Rapid Fire to the Rattler Up Network and on Rattler Up. You've been on the hot seat for the last 2 weeks, but apparently it is now my turn. So Creek, welcome back to Rattler Up. I'm a little less glad to have you this week, unfortunately. So, Creek, you have 60 seconds to ask me as many questions as possible. And after putting Coach Walsh under the gun, it is my turn. So, let me put 60.
I got the time, right?
Oh, Coach has the
it?
time
I
here.
got it ready.
So, Coach has the timer. You have 60 seconds on the clock. This is Rapid Fire with Creek Ennis. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I did a little Googling about you, but
Uh-oh.
what is your favorite baseball player of all time?
That would be Nolan Ryan. I'm a diehard Cubs fan, but man, Nolan, that was my first baseball game I went to. So, Nolan Ryan was the man.
A little test for you. When is your little sister's birthday?
My little sister's birthday is February 5th, 1982.
Nice. What's the name of your favorite childhood pet?
My childhood dog, Pepper.
Pepper, gotcha. Where were you when the Cubs won the World Series?
I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Austin that was kind enough to stay open and let us watch. We actually had gone to Chicago for the middle 3 games. I didn't have tickets. I just hung out around Wrigley and then watched it back home, Game 7.
How many state debate champions have you coached?
We have had 3 state champions.
Wow. What animals did you show in FFA in high school?
I showed sheep one time, but it almost died because I never took care of it. So then I didn't show it anymore. And then I showed hogs the rest of the time.
And then what was your career before education?
Before education, I was a professional wrestler.
Yeah. That was so cool to learn about.
All right, you got bonus 2 questions.
Bonus 2, got you. Well, who is your favorite pro wrestler of all time?
The man that trained me, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Nice. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, it kind of depends on the mood, but it's either going to be Sandlot or Field of Dreams. Yeah. It kind of depends on the day you ask me. It's one of those two always.
Sounds good.
That's it.
All right, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
I made it through there. The wrestling made its way on the air after 4 seasons, and that's fine. I'm proud of it. Well, Creek, thanks again for Rapid Fire. We'll
sir,
get
absolutely.
you a new target for next week then, all right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Bring Josh out of the closet.
I think so. Well, Coach, let's go ahead and look ahead to this Friday night as the Rattlers will be on the road for a district game against the Judson Rockets. Judson is 2-4 overall and 1-1 in district play with an overtime win against East Central and a loss last week against Steele. So Judson definitely is going to want to ground and pound in that running game behind junior running back Caden Graham and that 6'8" sophomore tackle Jay Storm Knight blocking for him. Now, the preseason scouting reports expected them to be plenty physically tough on both sides of the ball. So, Coach, what are your early reports looking like against Judson?
Yeah, the early reports are right. They're big, they're physical. Their O-line's huge. They have 2 guys that look like they play for the Cowboys. But like East Central and then some, they have speed to give away. I mean, there's speed all over the place, and that's what makes them a challenge is if they get the ball in space on offense, they're a problem. And when you think you have space against their defense, they close quick. So, I like how we match up. We got to challenge the first half. We talked about that already.
Right.
We're missing 7 starters, but and I don't think I answered your question earlier when you said, kind of what do you do when you don't have those guys? You're down.
What is the strategy going in knowing,
Yeah, we throw the ball really well, because, Buck's throwing for about 250 a game. But you want that clock running. You want that first half over as fast as you can get it over and get all your boys on the field. So hopefully we're moving those chains, running the football and running that clock.
Right.
And I like our matchup up front, and Buck's been executing. I think one of the biggest things we've got going for us right now is people got to account for Buck running the football, and that makes it. You can watch any level, NFL, college, or high school, and that makes it real difficult.
Well, just that slight hesitation in the secondary
No
is
doubt.
all you need, right?
No question.
Well, the Rattler offense, they've gone through 3 straight weeks with season highs in production, getting 496 yards last week and they face a Judson defense that's given up an average of 33 points a game, but we know that, again, these stat lines don't mean a lot when you get down on the field, as you've said many times before. What will the offense need to do to keep that momentum going the way they've set it up?
We were talking earlier too. We've in pregame, I'm watching, Judson scouts come. I'm watching Steel scouts come, Canyon scouts, and they're like stalkers getting in the stadium. But I want those guys, and when they're writing down, because you've talked about our balance. I want them to be, when they're writing formations, they're writing a bunch of formations, and we're not predictable. And then when you can run the ball and throw the ball with the balance we have right now, you're not predictable. You're not one dimensional. And we have
to make a choice.
We have to
go the
remain
other
that way. Yeah, and it balances out. It balances them out in the defense. They can't just stop one thing, and it gives you space. So that's what we have to do. Continue to do.
Now, the offense for Judson's only been able to score an average of 18 a game, and the defense has been the star of the show, right? Each week on Rattler Up, we keep talking about what the defense has been able to do. And this last week against East Central was kind of maybe their first big hiccup. It's not that they had a bad game. They gave up too much, but it was a couple of big plays. And you talked about that's our district. Our district has those playmakers that really makes no game ever over.
No question.
So what did the defense feel like coming off of that, and what shifts, or do you not really make a lot of shifts going into this game knowing, hey, coming off not our best game, we got to get back on track?
Yeah, and we had Josh Allen on here a few weeks back, and I've always said, still believe in it, is you run the football to win championships and you stop the run. So we're going to continue to load the box, stop the run, and that makes you susceptible to big plays in the secondary because you put your corners one-on-one. We have good corners. Every corner you see in the country, all pro corners get beat. And just so happened 3 different ones got beat for us on the same night against East Central. So, but we're going to keep doing what we do, and that's been successful for us. We're definitely not going to change it now at the end of the year.
All right. Well, Friday night, you got to take that short drive down to Converse, Texas, support the Rattlers as they take on the Judson Rockets. They're at DW Rutledge Stadium, a quick 30-minute drive south for Rattler Nation. So make sure you're there, screaming loud at kickoff, which is at 7:30. So, Coach, that'll do it for another Rattler Up this week. But before we go, we're going to take a look at some of the upcoming chances you have to catch the Rattlers in action this week. Tonight, of course, here in just a moment, the Rattler volleyball team getting ready to take on the Judson Rockets themselves down in Converse in a district matchup here at 7 o'clock. Thursday, swim team has that NISD pentathlon that starts at noon. On Friday, we said Friday night, the senior night in the Snake Pit is the Rattler volleyball team taking on Steel, and that game will be broadcast live on the Rattler Up Network, so make sure to get to YouTube, search at Rattler Up Network, subscribe, like, and watch that game live. Watch it later in the archive, but we're excited to bring another live broadcast, and the kids have been excited to get the cameras ready, get the graphics ready, and do all of that. And then, of course, Rattler football this Friday night, heading to Judson to take on the Rockets. Kickoff is at 7:30. So before we go, we always check in on things outside of Rattler Nation, Coach. And for me, the Cubs just not able to move on, dropped the last game against the Brewers Saturday night. But you ever had one of those where it was just kind of gravy? Like, I didn't expect to make the playoffs, so this wasn't a year we were supposed to win it, so you don't get crushed at the end, right?
Yeah, if the Rangers aren't in the playoffs, I'm not paying attention. But for you, I was pulling for the Cubs.
All right. Well, Texas State lost to Troy. They're having some trouble. It's not what we expected this Bobcat team, right?
Yeah, they're evidently they're good on offense, but the second half defense is a problem.
Right, and it's been second half. It's been crazy. Well, Texas wins Red River rivalry. A&M wins over Arkansas. They moved to number 4 in the country. And then I got to throw some love to my daughter's school, Tarleton. They're number 3 in the country in FCS.
Yeah.
So the Tarleton Texans, we got to go to a game last year. I haven't been to this year, but you were saying they were actually in your conference, right?
Yeah, I just played little Division III ball, and they were in our conference, and they've slowly made their way up Division II and to whatever they're doing right now.
Yeah, it's been fun as I've been up there in Stephenville and having lived in San Marcos now for almost 20 years. Tarleton and Stephenville both are almost what I saw here about 15. They're about 10 to 15 years ago.
Right.
Texas State, San Marcos.
Yep.
As they make their way up. Now they're Division I, but they're FCS.
Right.
But they've gotten a couple of big. They beat Army this year.
They got a big win.
So they're starting to move their way up. It really is. I see them going through. And as a town, the school growing, the town growing.
Right.
it's been interesting to see.
And Stephenville is smaller than San Marcos. If people who don't know this, and the Tarleton, the university itself hasn't been a highly populated till as of late. So it's pretty cool to watch them. I lived an hour from Stephenville for 10 years. So
well, when we go up to visit my daughter, we have yet to stay in Stephenville because I can't get a hotel.
No doubt.
We're in Glen Rose or we're staying somewhere else because it's just that the town hasn't caught up to the college, which again is what I saw happen here about 10 or 15 years ago. It's been interesting. Well, that does it for this week. And as always, we want to thank Jack and Josh for running that digital communications program here at SMHS and these Rattler Broadcast Studios. And of course, thanks to all those amazing students that are putting graphics together, running cameras, and making us look like $1 million here. So thank you for that. We'll be back again next week. For Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odom. Thanks for watching Rattler Up.